And welcome to the sixth Literary Expo sponsored by the Nuestra America Online Radio and the World Press Agency. My name is Armando Garcia, director of the online radio in the United States. This is the second time we do an interview in English because some writers from Spanish-speaking countries have written their books in English. And now we have a writer from Peru who lives in Canada, our neighbor of the north. And we have also Anidia Cavadia Martinez, who is our ambassador, who is going to present our writer from Peru and Canada. Nidia, all the microphones are yours.
Everyone had a good day or good night. Greet you, the writer and narrator Nidia Cavadia from Fonseca, Colombia. Fonseca is a city of the Guajira Peninsula in the Caribbean, in the Colombian Caribbean. This Caribbean that appeared in all work of our Nobel Prize winner, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Visiting Fonseca is enjoy an exotic landscape because here the desert, the sea, and the green vegetation mix. You can enjoy these such as iguana steak and coconut juice and the typical fish dish prepared with goat meat. You can hear vallenato music and especially dance. You also interact in a multicultural environment when you visit cities as Riohacha, Maicao, and Rancheria. You interact with Guayú, Arab, and Ariguna people. I am a writer for two
Ways of living.
books, Sea and Life, a real life story and ESP cure for a student in a specific context. It's a teaching book written by my colleague Marel B. Zapata for foreign language teacher designed to develop student writing skill and reading in English. It is book that also becomes a proposal for foreign language teacher in the world due to its easier adaptation to any context. In addition, I had the honor of being invited as a Colombian cultural ambassador for this literary event and presenting a Spanish-speaking writer and also author of book in English. I like to see the CAO of the WordPress agency, the director of Nuestra America Online Radio, and the general coordinator of SIG Literary Expo. Today, I am going to introduce you our Peruvian writer, Elizabeth Wong. He presents us with her book, My Life, Joy, Go, Good, A Way of Living. This book is dedicated to all the family of the world with much love. She showed how important it is to build a family full of love and belonging. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy this wonderful event. Go ahead, Mr. Director.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Elizabeth. For the first time, we're going to do the interview in English. Please tell a little bit about yourself and also about your book. You decided to write a book about your life in Canada or from Peru all the way to Canada. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Okay, hi, good morning. Good morning, Armando. Good morning, Nidia. Hi, Marisol. Nice to see you all. And I am Peruvian. I grew up in Peru until I was 35, and then I moved to here, to Toronto. So my writing, which I started to write like 3 years ago, since I wrote my book. So all my book is regarding about my life. So since I was a child until now. So it's like autobiography, and it's being referred to since I was 5 years old. I live in Peru. I went to school and study. I normally, if when you have a chance, if you see my book, you're gonna see in the front pages, I see a child picture and with butterflies and dragonflies. So when I was a little girl, I grew up with my father and my family and my brothers, six. We are six in total. So 5 of us, we went hunting for dragonflies and butterflies, because I used to live in the farm. So I lived in there until I was 11 years old. So my life was beautiful, no problem with driving and nothing and cars. So my life was so free. My father worked in that farm. He used to be the administrator they used to call like it was how they call it, hacienda. I guess they call hacienda. I guess the same as in English.
It's in work, yeah, it's in work.
The same as in English, yeah. So the hacienda, my father was administrator, and we always be near him, and we have a beautiful life. So since I recall, my childhood was the best thing I ever have. Sharing with my brothers. We are 4 girls and 2 boys. So I am the older of the girls. My older brother is, I had 2 older brothers, but one died when he was only 8 months. So I describe also in the book, because it's all the autobiography, because my parents always told me, all this, because I'm the first one, the girl in the family. So they always describe me all the things that happened before we came to this world. So they told me all the stories about what happened in the beginning of my brother, and then I said to myself, why I don't write something, about my life, since I always recall what happened since I was 5 until, I grew up now until become a nurse.
So you have a good memory,
I know, I never knew, since I guess I got the thread of the yarn and then keep on rolling and rolling, it came to my mind. So I always tell my husband, I always share with him all the stories since I was a child. And I wasn't sure, what am I going to write, since I have, that opportunity with one teacher came up in my life like 2 years ago, telling, showing us how to write or what to write, and what is all these steps to follow. So I decided to just do the autobiography, which I knew already, but I have to get questions, with my husband, what do you do in this time, what happened? And then I started recalling, but it's unbelievable, but our mind is like like a USB that you you plug it in and then everything comes.
So your hard drive never collapsed.
I guess my hard drive good. So I start to write, whatever it happens, I have been recording. And when I was speaking in Spanish and the machine was recording me in English, so it was easy for me just to follow, because I have to write the book in 6 weeks. So I had the pressure for our teacher, we have to do it. And I wasn't sure I'm gonna finish all this job, but anyhow, I just have to push myself, especially my husband is the one who said, no, you have to do it. You already started. Keep going, keep going. So give me all this, desire to proceed. So what happened is like, I end up doing it, but after all, I know we have to just read and reread the book 100 times, because it's not easy to write a book, It seems to be okay when you talk, when you speak with someone. But put it down on a piece of paper, really, it's a challenge. So it's a practice that you have to just, improve every day. So, and then that's what I did, I started writing since I was a little girl. And then when I went to school, moved to the big city, which was Lima, me, a farm lady living in the small town, moving to Lima, which is a really busy city. And, all the traffic, and a lot of crowds, a lot of noise. For me, it was really disturbing. I wasn't sure how am I going to survive in Lima. But anyhow, it happens to be like I live in Lima for maybe 15 years or so since I moved there. And then after that, I moved to Canada with my kids, my husband, and I, and our 3 children came here. My 3 children were like a small age, 8, 10, and 11 years old. So I have to stay with them, here in their house. Because I couldn't work, I couldn't study. I didn't know nothing about English. I had to just go to school and learn ESL. So I had a nice school, a good teacher, of English teacher, but I have to move forward very fast because since I was a nurse, I had to get a job here as a nurse. In North America, it's a good position for nurses. They're looking for nurses everywhere.
There's a shortage of nurses in
It's a shortage
Canada
of
and also in the US, yeah.
Right. So anyway, so what I did is just trying to, just put my kids in school immediately when we arrived to Toronto. So, and also myself to go to ESL. But I go, in order to get my license, I have to write my TOEFL. As everyone have to write TOEFL. And to get past the written test and the oral test. And then the College of Nurses telling me, okay, you can read and you can speak. And then you are allowed to write the test because the test is about 1 day test for nurses. So it's not just 1 hour or so. So you have to really sit in there half of the day, questions about anatomy and physiology and everything and diseases. And in the afternoon, we have to write psychosocial questions, which is very tricky and challenging, But good thing that, all this learning and English, all the challenges that I had, I passed, and then I got my license and got to work. By the time my kids already growing, and they, of course, they learn English very fast. Mm-hmm. So, for me to learn English, it was, like I said to you, I had a basic English, and what I introduced in my house is just to put stickers everywhere in the house. Maybe you can apply that for Marisol too, or anyone. But I put, all this, those slips, the little slip with the glue, you stick it on the wall and turn on the light, turn off the light, turn off this, cook, all this vocabulary that I had to improve. So my plan was to learn as many words as I could, so then I can connect them together. So when, and my English teacher always told me, when you learn English, you have to repeat the word at least 100 times, and then it stays with you, so it comes natural. You don't traduce when you're speaking. In the beginning, when you start learning, what happens to me is I say, what did I say? I start to traduce in Spanish and thinking in English. So, but I'm not. And after that, when you just learn, you lose that connection with the English and Spanish. You just start speaking. So that's why, and as a nurse, and me as a nurse, I had to speak well to communicate with people. I had in front of me and had to answer the phones. In the beginning, I ran from the phone. I didn't want to pick up the phone because it's a challenge. What am I going to say? What if I don't understand them? So it's not like right now we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook, we have all these communication things coming up that makes you, get more into. But at that time, we didn't have that leisure that we have now. Now it's so easy. Before it was, you have to go to the library to learn. You have to borrow those those VHS and put it in the cassette and listen. But now it's everything available. So that's what I want to learn French too. Last time I wanted to start, but now I'm busy in something else in my book. And so I got stuck in my learning. So anyhow, so all these, opportunities that God gave me in my life, actually, I'm very thankful on him. And that, I had the opportunity to see my kids growing now here with me, my husband. Well, I had a misfortune also to lose my husband. when he was here, he passed away. And so I had to stay with my 3 children. So I raised them until I go to university. Until then I met Omar. So I met Omar. I married with Omar for 5 years. So anyhow, so that's what is life, you know. But any challenge that you face or encounter, you have to just go through and keep going.
Yeah, where did you guys meet? In Canada, or you guys you knew him in
I
Peru?
met him in here in Toronto. Yeah.
You didn't know that he was a Peruvian, or it was a surprise to find your
Yeah,
soulmate as a Peruvian?
I knew somehow that he was a Peruvian because, you know, in here and Toronto, it's a small community, Peruvian community. It's not as many as in Montreal or Quebec, but I saw him with his family because he has his wife and his children. So we gathered, but you know, you see them from the distance. I heard his name, but I never speak to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when we went to a wedding like 7 years ago, and then suddenly he was a widow as well.
Oh, he was a widow?
He was a widow. I was a widow for 14 years, and then I met him. I never think I'm gonna marry again, but you see, I met Omar, and Omar so sweet, convinced me.
A sweet widower.
A sweet widow. So anyhow, I started going out with him, and we are now we're living together, and you know, my kids also live in their own place. My 3 kids also grew up. They have already studied in university. They are happily married, and my life continues. You know, all the challenges that you encounter, you know, you remember, but you know, it's the past now. It's now have to live the present.
Yeah, I have a question about the learning English as a second language. What about your medical vocabulary? Was it more difficult learning the language, or also learning the nursing vocabulary, which is the medical field?
Right. So, you know, the medical field is almost similar what I learned from school, you know, it's kind of similar. It's only the pronunciation and the writing is a little bit different, but the meaning is about the same. So, but in the beginning also, when I was learning English, I went also to university to learn the medical terminology because I really need to update myself. So what they use here, what the wordings, what are the, you know, all these magic words that the doctors speak with, you know. So I had to. I went, but you know, the best thing is just to, even though I want to say before I was saying, I did 3 years volunteering in a hospital. I volunteer myself in the hospital without paying. I work weekends, and I go in the morning where my kids are already a little bit grown up. So I went for half of the day. So, and then I was exposed to listen, the doctors, when they make rounds, the nurses, when they go answer the phone. So it was fun for 3 years after I got my license. And then, of course, when you're working in the field, you know, you have to remember, but, you know, but that's why we get the exam, you know, that's why we get the test ready for nursing. You have to know. If I don't know how to read and know how to write, how am I going to work as a nurse?
Yeah, because one way is to learn the TOEFL for passing your ESL to teach English or whatever, but another thing is the learning medical vocabulary, which is kind of difficult though.
Really? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a process, you know, a daily thing, and then you learn instead to say ultrasound, you know. They say another word in Spanish. I even forget some words in Spanish, how they say it. But, you know, when you're living and exposed every day in English surrounding you, so you kind of forget about the Spanish, you know.
Yeah. I used to teach English and also tell the students that the easiest way to learn the language is to forget the Spanish.
Yeah, to forget Spanish. You forget.
Set aside the language,
right?
The new one, as you were a little toddler, kid.
Yeah. That's why my kids also, they were kind of forgetting Spanish.
Yeah.
Because everybody speaks in English. So what I did is just, when I took them to Peru, like after 7 years living here, we see the family, and my little boy didn't know how to say a word in Spanish, even though he grew up until he was 8, but they forget. We forget. Even though I look silly when my sister is talking to me, and then, what did you say? Excuse me. can you say it slowly? Because, you know, it goes fast and then you miss the word, they miss the sentence.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a process, but, and then after, now I go more often to Peru and then I know everything.
Okay, so let's now maybe Nidia Cavadilla, your ambassador, has many questions about the book. She is English as a second language teacher with a good methodology in teaching English in Colombia, but she might have tons of questions to you. Nidia? Open your mic. Open your mic. Press the right button.
Okay.
Maybe she's not. If not, let me try it. Let me try to help her.
Open your mouth.
Open your mic.
Open your mouth.
Open your mic.
Open your mic.
Mic. Nidia, what's going on with your microphone?
Uh-oh. It's
No,
okay.
she doesn't let me.
Yeah, but she has a, oh yeah, it's off. Uh-huh.
Let me try again. No, I'm pressing and I'm
No.
able to do it.
Tranquila, Nidia. Abre tu micrófono con tranquilidad.
No, she's unable. Well, before you I don't know, you remember the Fantasy Island?
The Fantasy Island, of
Yeah.
course.
You remember the little midget, the dwarf guy who
Yeah,
said,
the tall
who
guy
says,
said,
the plane. I interviewed him once. He is from,
Did you?
he was because he passed away already. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
with friends.
Okay.
And I asked him, how do you learn English?
Yeah, what did he
Do
say?
you know what he said? Watching movies.
That's true.
Watching soap operas.
Yeah, so
Watching
true.
television.
Yeah,
And because I'm an actor, because he told me, and
Yeah.
I reacted with all the moves of every single character. And
Yeah.
I watch it, I got the scripts and I began saying
Yeah.
the line.
Yeah, learning.
That's the only way. And he forgot the French.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you learn English watching TV or singing, you know, in the radio, you put the radio on and start singing, and then you learn,
Sí.
and your ear gets so fine and repeat words and make it much
All
easier.
right. She already made it. Come on,
Yeah.
Nidia.
Yes,
Open
yeah, I
mics.
am here.
All the lighting.
I lost my connection.
That's
Elizabeth, you say that about farmer. My question is, do you think living in the countryside inspire you to write?
You mean in the countryside? What? Excuse me?
Inspire you to write?
He's asking you if is it better in the countryside, being in the countryside and for writing?
Oh, you mean to sit and write there, or?
Yes, for example, for you when you write your book.
Yeah, okay, when I wrote my book, well, that's what when I describe everything, whatever I live in my countryside. You know, I describe it until I live in there until I was 11 years old. So all the situation that I had, I encountered with my brothers, all the games, all the experiences I have, and then also all the relationship with my uncles and my parents. I describe it in that book, whatever I learned, you know, when I was a child, because since I am the first of the girls, I have to learn how to cook since I was 7 years old. And I learned how to clean the house since I was 7 and take care of my small brothers, because my mother sometimes goes out to get shopping and gets the groceries. So I had to do that, and it was for me so natural, and then get the responsibility to me. That's what right now my husband say I'm crazy, clean and organized, because since I was a girl, I always been trained to be like this, you know. And so right now that is really nice, because when you live in the countryside, it's different, you know, when you go to the big city. And And all these memories that because my father, in the place where I used to live, they have a lot of grow of rice, because Peru is very famous, and north of Peru is very famous for rice. So rice grew up in the fields, and my father was kind of responsible and to see everything is well done, because when the owner of the hacienda came over, and my father had to report it. So my father always tells me, you want to ride a horse. So he taught me how to ride a horse since I was 12. I went to a horse and we were with my father, supervising the farms, checking. My father always spoiled me, So he treated me so well, and to all of us. But I was the first girl, so he always spoiled me and be with me. So my sisters sometimes get jealous, but it was fun. My father always treating me, well. Yeah.
You have any more
Okay.
questions?
That's okay.
Nidia, you have more questions?
That answer to your question, Nidia?
About your English, my question is, how many hours did you study English?
When I went to ESL, my class was from 8 to 1 p.m. And then in my house, I have to keep on practicing my English. So we have, and here in Canada, it's free. You go only because every immigrant who comes to Canada has the right to go to a Welcome House and ESL program. So the EXL program involves, starting from basic, intermediate, and then move to all the levels up. But I said to myself, I had a test, when I arrived to the ESL class, they give me a paper and said, write this, and they gave me a question. So I answer whatever I have. And they told me, you are in intermediate, I'm not in basic. So because, when my kids in Peru went to English school, so I passed the test and they put me in intermediate right away, no in basic. Because Peruvian kind of, or Spanish speakers, they know mostly how to write, but not to speak. Or the pronunciation, and then you don't move on in pronunciation or talking, because writing is good. And then I have to learn how to move my tongue and say right words in English. So I practically, like I said before, I close my kids do not speak me in Spanish. I'm not answering. So when they ask me something, Mama, quiero leche. What do you say? What do you say? I don't understand. I don't understand you. And then after, it's just for me. So they also, when I listen to them, and then I have to practice my English too. And that's the way I learn, actually. That's what I move on. I have to be smarter than, the class. They tell me, go to intermediate. I don't want to stay in that level. I want to go to advanced. I studied intermediate for 3 months. And then I asked the teacher, can I go to your TOEFL class? I moved to TOEFL right away. So I have to open my ears, the recording, write. I have to, and just when I'm determined to do things, I'll do it, regardless. So my teacher took me and said, okay, you're going to do TOEFL? Yes, okay. And then you start talking until you open your ears, it's only just practice. But I cannot tell you how many hours did I study the English, but for me it was like a 24/7, como decimos, ¿no? Como decimos, 24 horas al día hay que practicar.
Hay que practicar, yes.
I have a question for you.
My last question.
Go ahead.
Why do people read your books right now?
What kind of people?
Yes.
I posted, when I published my book, I said they have to, this from age 19, isn't it? 8 years old or 9 years old, they can read my books until now, This is my book.
Yeah, who's the little girl on the picture?
The little girl, it's none of my grandkids, it's not myself, but when the guy who designed it, I told them to put a child, you know. In the beginning, I'm gonna make a different feature, but I told him maybe put dragonflies and butterflies with the lamp. The lamp is like a nurse, you know, the light. So like a Florence Nightingale. So we have here. So it's all ages can read my book, and
All
it's
ages.
really loving stories inside. I re-review it, I re-edit it twice already. So this is just in Amazon. Yeah. Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, no more questions? I have one. When you were hunting butterflies, by hand or with a net?
No, by hand. Now I guess they do it with the net because they are afraid to be bitten by the old dragonflies. But no, I go by hand. I hold it from the
For the
wings.
wings, for the wings.
Sometimes I hold from the tail, but you know the dragonflies turn and they bite me.
Yeah, they did you. Yeah.
They bit me.
Now that you wrote your book about your life, do you miss Peru?
Well, I am here.
Or you have any regrets for being in Canada?
No, I have no regrets. My life here is amazing. It's good. I have all my family here. When I go to Peru, it's only for fun, for vacation. So I stay there for 2-3 months. Last year, I went the longest in my life because I always been only one week or 2 weeks since I live here for more than 33 years. So I miss Peru sometimes, but not really. I have all my family here, all my kids and my grandkids are here, my life is here, all my friends. If I go to Peru, it's just to get away from the winter. You know, winter, Canada, it's sometimes a little bit too strong. Before I couldn't go and travel to as much as I wanted because I was working. Now I'm free. And then I said to myself, okay, it's time to go and enjoy winter there at summer, and then come back when the summer is here.
Yeah, and why did you choose Canada instead of the States or any other English-speaking country?
Well, I guess probably was meant to, because like when my husband applied he wanted to apply to go to US, but then suddenly my brother-in-law just told us, why don't you come to Canada? Because I have already got an apartment, come here. My wife is gonna have a baby, and because he already had 2 brothers here living in Toronto. So my husband was the number 5 for the kids. So they say, okay, I'm coming to Toronto. I'm gonna apply. He applied, we wait like a few months, and we lost the paper from the embassy. And suddenly I found the paper was underneath the carpet.
Oh,
When I was cleaning, I found the paper. I was already, the deadline for the interview already passed. And then I said to my husband, I called him, I said, look at this, I found this document from the embassy. So we had to see whether we can pursue that. So he went, and he got the interview, and then he came next day. We have to go to Toronto, get ready. That's what happens.
oh,
So
I
I
see.
have a lot of family in California, a lot of family in US, because, you know, I have also a sister of my husband living in, you know, in Sacramento and
Yeah.
in LA. A lot of family I have also there in Miami, in Tampa Bay, but actually I happen to be here. I'm okay. We are good. We're happy, and the kids are okay. They like it, you know. We adjusted our lives to being here.
Did you naturalize Canadian already?
Yes, I am. After
Oh.
3 years, I live here. I went through the exam. I had an oral interview.
Yeah.
And because I have my small kids, so I passed the interview, and all my kids become Canadian as well since.
How do you feel by pledging the allegiance to the Queen of England?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, the Queen of England, I know. We have a nice lady, Elizabeth, like sometimes when
That's what I'm saying. That's what Elizabeth.
Before I used to say, what's your name? Yes, they tell me, Elizabeth. And they said, I'm like the Queen, I said to them, you know? So anyhow, yeah, well, our dearest Queen Elizabeth, well, she was a nice lady. She worked so hard for the country, but a lot of people just, now after the Queen died, you know, like when was that, last year, I guess. So
Yeah.
now Prince Charles, so Prince Charles became a king. Now he's
So, did you guys change the currency with his picture, or you're still seeing the
we
queen and
still have with the same currency. The
the same
picture of
currency? They
Charles
didn't change it.
not
They
there.
didn't change it.
They haven't changed it. I don't know for what reason. You're right. Yes, maybe it's coming soon. Who knows? But I don't know what's going to happen because, yeah, royalty. Yeah, it's nice to have the royalty there, but I don't know.
So you got your book on Amazon.
Yeah, I have my book on Amazon. If you can find the book, if you write my name, Elizabeth Wong, or maybe write the title of the book saying my life. And then in Amazon will come the book. This is the book. And, you know, I have it in Spanish as well. My second book is coming soon in December, my other book.
December. All right, so maybe next year on the 7th Literary Expo, you'll be able to present it. Are you gonna write in Spanish or English?
I'm gonna come up both.
Okay, I have a question. Did you say that you recorded your Spanish version and they translated into English? I didn't know we had the technology, honestly speaking. It will resolve many of my problems. How did you do that? Do you have a software? There's softwares in there?
Yeah, in Word. You put it in Word. You know, you put the mic. But well, I did record my in Spanish, but it came in Spanish. But and then I have to translate it to English. No, I didn't come in English.
Oh, it didn't come in English. Okay, so you recorded in Spanish.
Spanish, and then I had to review what I did. You know,
and then you did the translation.
And then I did a translation. No, it doesn't come like a Spanish immediately.
Using artificial intelligence?
Maybe
your husband will be able to help you with that.
Maybe Omar.
It will resolve all people's problems.
Oh yeah, that would be great. You know, I don't know. Maybe it will come soon, but are you?
No, you have your husband next door, so maybe next to you, she'll be able to help you. Come on, you'll become a millionaire by doing that.
Yeah, that would save me a lot of time.
Okay, so any more questions, Nidia, before you transfer to Marisol?
Okay, my question is there isn't question, it's a petition maybe.
Oh, petition.
How do the people or the writer to speak about the family love in this moment when the war is very have very problem? How to say the writer, for example?
So do you mean in what situation? In the situation that we're living now? Or
some situation?
Any.
Because there are very problem in the world in this moment. How to say the writer is right about family love, about feeling in the family.
I know. So you're referring like the people like this world that we're living in this situation, in this moment, all the situation that's happening in the world?
Yes.
How do I focus myself on writing? Yeah. Well, I know it's the news, you know, comes every day, all the news like bombarding you, all this bad situation, all this happening in the family, losing children, losing their homes. So really, it's really, you know, disturbing for all of us, and sadness, you know, what's happening in this planet now. So what, you know, what can we do? Yes, perhaps, you know, you have to just be more close together with the family, perhaps, and you know, to improve the relationship among us, and be calm, you know, with all the people who you speak to, have a lot of sympathy with them. So to build a better world, you know, because what happened is like it's a lot of sadness, a lot of people with suffering, a lot of pain. And you see the necessity is all around us, you know, and that's what it make all these problems to raise every day. And instead to see that we have to, you know, be better every day rather, but they do whatever they think is appropriate. So for me, you know, it's, when I'm writing to, I don't know, when I write my book, and my teacher always tells me, you have to write the best thing of your life. Don't focus on the bad things. So that's what I try to do, you know, because it's difficult to concentrate if you just think on the other side, which is not right. So it's up to every individual, you know, how you see, you know, how you see your this planet. But we're here yet to see everything, you know, the good and the bad. So we have to just only just prioritize, you know, prioritize. You
Mhm.
have to prioritize.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Prioritize. Mm-hmm. Okie dokie. Thank you. Thank you, Nidia.
All right. Thank you very much. And now we're going to turn over to Marisol in Spanish. Marisol, so all yours. In English. Well, excuse me.
De verdad que ha sido una exposición extraordinaria. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening a todos ustedes, o por lo menos los saludos en inglés, ahí están presentes para encalonar a nuestra querida invitada en el día de hoy, que ha hecho una exposición maravillosa junto con nuestra embajadora cultural, dándole pues la bienvenida. You're welcome a esta sexta expo literaria a nuestra querida Elizabeth Wong. Ella es peruana, vive en Canadá y hoy día está interactuando aquí en la alfombra roja de la sexta expo literaria. Bienvenida nuestra querida Elizabeth. También dale las gracias a Nidia Cabadía Martínez desde Colombia, la tierra del café, presente con ese lindo vestuario. No sé si nos puedes, por favor, enseñar para que el público, los radioyentes vean ese vestuario de Colombia. Ahí está, qué belleza de vestuario. Hoy día engalanó su presencia para darle la bienvenida a la escritora internacional Elizabeth Wong. Muchas gracias, Nina Cabadía, por ese detalle tan bonito. Y también decirle a nuestros queridos radioyentes y seguidores, vayan a la plataforma de Amazon a adquirir el bello libro de nuestra querida Elizabeth Wong, 2 versiones, inglés y español. En inglés ya lo presentó la escritora, pero pues si lo puedes mostrar a pantalla, por favor, las versiones, ahí está en inglés y también lo tiene en versión español. Mi vida, la alegría, buena forma de vivir. Elizabeth Wong nos enseña y nos habla de esas bellas experiencias en su querido Perú, en Guadalupe, porque nuestra querida Elizabeth es de la ciudad de Guadalupe, una ciudad hermosa aquí en el Perú, muy cálida, muy tierna. Y ahí está, esas vivencias calurosas, hermosas de su niñez que nos transmiten confianza, nos transmiten amor y nos transmiten un ejemplo de una familia feliz. Así que ya lo puedes adquirir. Esos tesoros tienen que estar en tu biblioteca en forma virtual y en forma física. Claro que sí, en Europa, Estados Unidos, en 24 horas ya lo tienes en la puerta de tu casa. También decirles a nuestros queridos radioyentes que de lunes a viernes, 11 de la mañana, ¿quieres volver a escuchar la entrevista de hoy día a Elizabeth? Pues conéctate a Radio Nuestra América y lo vas a volver a escuchar. ¿Y lo quieres volver a ver? Claro que sí. Vaya al canal de YouTube Radio Nuestra América Online y ahí están todas las exposiciones literarias de todos los escritores y también la de hoy día de nuestra querida Elizabeth Wong. Yo también soy escritora internacional, también escribí un libro que se llama Testimonio de vida, Desahogo de un alma herida. Este libro toca el tema de la violencia doméstica que no tiene que ser aceptada en tu familia en ninguna de tus formas. Este libro viene para enseñarte y decirle no a la violencia en forma tajante. ¿Cómo lo puedes encontrar? Pues en la plataforma de Amazon, en electrónico y física, o si no, Marisol Paredes Apolitano, y te sale inmediatamente ese libro en sus 2 versiones. Gracias, señor director.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Elizabeth. It was a pleasure meeting you and also speaking to you in English, as well as with Nidia Cavadia, our ambassador. Today is the last day of the 6th Literary Expo. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue next year on February the 3rd all the way to March the 2nd. We're going to be having the 7th Literary Expo, sponsored by the World Press Agency and also Nuestra America Online Radio. Hopefully we have your book by then. The second
Yeah,
book.
you will. You will.
It will.
We will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Colombia.
Thank you. Take care of yourself and God bless you all. See you
Thank
next year. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Many chismes and
Christmas.
anything else.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a
Bye
good day.
now. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.